Great. Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Becky, the Chief Executive Officer of the English Association, and I'm very pleased to be hosting the session this afternoon. Just a quick word about the EA. We are a learned society and subject association that was founded in 1906 to promote, support, and celebrate the discipline of English studies. We cover all stages of education, from primary through to secondary, further higher education and beyond, and we cover all parts of the discipline across language, linguistics, literature, and creative writing. Events like this one are made possible by the fantastic contribution of our volunteer speakers, so thank you ever so much to Sita, Fran, and Deanna for giving us your time so generously this afternoon. Our members also make it possible to keep these events free and open to all by paying their membership fees. So if you would like to contribute to the national conversation about English and help support our discipline, please do consider joining us. From the 1st of October, it costs just around 20 quid to join us and see what everything is like and sort of experience the EA. And you'll support our events and campaigning work for a whole year, and you get access to a range of member benefits, including online access to all our brilliant journals. But that is enough from me. So I'm going to hand over to Sita, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Becky. So I'm going to share my screen and hopefully the tech will work. Let's give it a go. Let me do this and hopefully that is showing on your screens now. Yep, brilliant, fantastic. So hello everyone, my name is Sita Kenyon and I am an Education Projects Manager at Amnesty International UK. I run the Creative Education Programmes at Amnesty, and of that, Words That Burn is really our flagship programme. Words That Burn is basically, it's a poetry and human rights programme. It empowers English teachers to use poetry as a tool to engage students, to explore human rights, and to help their students find their voice and see poetry as a powerful tool for advocacy, but also for self-expression. Words That Burn is really for secondary school students. So just to let you know that there as well before we kind of kick off. We have 45 minutes here together today, just a little bit under now. And in today's session, I'm going to basically introduce you to the programme. I'm going to talk to you about what it is, what it looks like. We're going to have a go at one of the activities together, so there will be the opportunity to write some poetry, which is very exciting. Hopefully you feel excited about that. But also we're going to hear from two fantastic speakers who have kindly agreed to come along and share their insights of the Words That Burn programme with you. So I'll just briefly introduce them and then they can pop on and just say hello if that's okay. So firstly, Fran King. So Fran is joining us from Alderman Night School, and Fran has been involved with Words That Burn for a number of years now, actually. And this year, Fran is taking part in our Words That Burn Teachers programme that Amnesty International UK is running in partnership with the Cheltenham Literature Festival. Fran, I'll just let you say hello now.
Hello. Yeah, I think this is my third year of doing Words That Burn, but yeah, the first time that we've done it at Alderman Night.
Thank you, Fran. Lovely. And we're going to hear a bit more from Fran later on. And our second speaker is Deanna Rodger. So Deanna is an award-winning poet and fantastic facilitator who has worked with Amnesty throughout the Words That Burn programme, running workshops with us and for us, writing wonderful resources and filming and performing poetry as well. So Deanna, I'll also just invite you to say hello as well.
Hello everyone, good evening. I'm really glad to be here to share this space and celebrate this project with you all. Thanks, Sita.
Thank you, Deanna. So thank you to both of you. To kind of start off, I thought what we could do is have a go of doing an activity just to kind of think about what poetry is, what has it got to do with human rights, and just have a go at thinking about what poetry means to us as well. So as you'll see on my screen, it says poetry is. What I'd like you to do is just finish off this sentence and post it in the Zoom chat. And you can answer this however you want. You can approach it however you want. It can be practical. You know, poetry is rhyming couplets made into stanzas. It can be emotive. Poetry is love. Or, you know, if you want, it can be poetry is boring. Poetry is a nightmare. I won't get offended. Just share with us your thoughts on poetry, please. And I'll just give you a minute or two to do that. And Becky, if when people start posting, if you can share some of them with us, that'd be wonderful.
Oh, yes, of course. Okay, so poetry is unbridled expression. Poetry is a mirror reflecting shared or individual human experience. Poetry is the music and rhythm of life.
Brilliant. Well, they can keep coming in. It's lovely to hear everyone's responses, and it's really amazing to do this. I really like doing this activity, actually. I do it a lot with lots of different people. It's quite a fun one if you want to do it with your students to find out what they really think about poetry, but also I see it as a wonderful opportunity to change people's minds as well if you do get those poetry is boring kind of responses. So one of the reasons in particular why I like to do that when I'm talking about this programme is that there is a quote which actually inspired the name Words That Burn, the programme that we run at Amnesty. And this quote is from Thomas Gray. It says, "Poetry is thoughts that breathe and words that burn." And for me, this really encapsulates what Words That Burn is about. Whenever I read that, I get this kind of fire in my belly, this kind of call to action. I want to pick up a pen and write something powerful. And that's what we want to do with Words That Burn. That's what we want young people to feel about poetry. Poetry can inspire, it can protest, it can bear witness. And at Amnesty, we recognise the power of poetry to empower young people to recognise that they have this voice and that everyone is a poet and that their voice deserves to be heard. Basically, we wanted to empower young people to learn how to make their words burn and to do that. And so we do that in a whole different range of different ways, which I'll go into in a little bit more detail in a second. But before I do that, I wanted to show you a short video, which hopefully will work if the tech works. And actually it features the wonderful Deanna. And this video kind of explores that connection between poetry and human rights and really kind of is a brilliant way of introducing what Words That Burn is all about. So hopefully this will work. I'm gonna just hopefully make it a bit bigger.
There are millions of poems flying around this world. There are long ones and short ones. Poems that rhyme and poems that don't. There are poems about aeroplanes and peace and pain. Poems about cats and storms, war, and on not being able to write a poem. Poems on any feeling you might have felt at any point in your life. I'm Deanna, and I spend a lot of time writing and performing poems all around the world. For many years, I didn't know how useful this was. I just enjoyed writing poems about the things I cared about experiences that me and my friends had had in our communities. It was only as I began to travel more that I began to realize the power I had as a poet. The power of writing words that burn. Words that demand to be heard. Poems show what matters to humans. They persuade and rally and comfort and connect people across the world. They give voice to the unheard. They give us all new ways of seeing the world, bridges between differences, opportunities to learn. You see, poems hold the stuff of humans. They are containers for feeling. They make something of moments. They exist to show someone your perspective, your view from the inside. This is why poetry has been used for many, many years as a tool to stand up for human rights. You see, there are many places around this world, including in this country, where human rights are not respected or upheld. There are many ways of defending human rights, and all of them are important and necessary. We need the law to uphold them, and we need protests to make the concerns for people visible, and we need artists to capture the feeling of what human rights means to us. This Words That Burn project is here for you, to get to know and understand your human rights, and to share with you a tool you can use to make your words burn, to show you the power of the words that you create, the possibility of the words inside of you to stand up for human rights and to protect them for yourselves and for others. A poem is indelible. Whether they whisper or shout, they say, "This matters to me. This feeling exists, and this will never be erased." Poems change the world by changing people's minds and hearts. So start right now. Pick up your pen and write your words that burn.
So that is a bit of a brief introduction to what Words That Burn is all about. And I wanted to kind of just talk a little bit about that now, about why we do Words That Burn, how we do it, and what it actually is. So why does Words That Burn exist? Well, we at Amnesty International UK, we want to make human rights change in the UK by making people care about human rights and giving them tools to defend them. And through the Words That Burn programme, we do this by delivering transformational human rights education experiences for young people. And by that, we mean those moments that stick with you when you are a young person in a classroom that you remember forever, those moments that change you. We want young people to be empowered to see that human rights belong to them, and we want them to find their voice in speaking up and exercising their rights to freedom of expression. And how we do this is we do it in a range of different ways. We empower teachers, educators, poets to deliver poetry and human rights sessions. We provide platforms for young people's voices to be heard, and we expose young people to a diverse range of poets who use their poetry to talk about human rights. And so what that actually looks like in reality is we have free resources that can be used with young people. So free resources that can be used Key Stage 3 to 5. They're available on our website. Anybody can use them. There's 10 lesson plans, which I'm going to tell you a bit more about, that you can use in your classes. We deliver trainings for teachers, for educators, for poets to get the word out there that Words That Burn exist and get people having that opportunity to explore how to use poetry and human rights. And we work with literary partners to deliver really great in-depth projects with showcase elements. And so our kind of literary partners this year, we have the Cheltenham Literature Festival, we've got the Swansea University Dylan Thomas Prize, and we have Push the Boat Out, which is a poetry festival up in Edinburgh. And just to give you a feel about what that looks like and how it all comes together, I want to share with you another video, which again, hopefully this is going to work okay. But this is taken from our Words That Burn partnership with Dylan, the Dylan Thomas Literary Award, which happened this year. And in it, you'll see some young people performing their poetry and just get a feel about what it is that we do here.
Freedom to those who live, kindness to those who think, respect to those who give, company to those at the brink.
Words That Burn is a brilliant opportunity to work with young people, to give them a chance to express their own voices using both poetry and exploring human rights.
Freedom is different voices shouting loud and clear, making choices and letting everyone hear.
Poetry is more than just random words on a page. It's a powerful form of expression that can capture the deepest emotions, the most complex ideas, and the most urgent calls for justice.
I come from coal-streaked valleys, from hills and melodic mountains, and chapels that echo with rich history and heritage.
Poetry's always been one of my favourite things, so when this happened I was ecstatic to try and use my poetry in ways that I haven't actually done before.
The calibre, the poetry from the students is just amazing.
Words That Burn project, it's not just about teaching poetry, it's just about reawakening that poet inside the students, letting them find themselves about what human rights are.
This was my first experience teaching, so I'm really happy to Amnesty International and the Words That Burn scheme for giving me this opportunity.
Never give up fighting your fight, keep going until the very last night. Then your true strength will be showing, your fight will be at an end. Now that freedom is back, I'm proud of you, my friend.
I think poetry is super useful in exploring human rights. It allows us to think about the big picture and big issues using the small details of our everyday life.
I thought it was a fabulous event. I was really blown away by the creativity of the students' poetry, and I really didn't expect to feel the emotional response that I felt to it.
The trust that I once owned, the joy I once experienced, all of that was gone, burned by the words of a person I used to call a friend.
Being able to develop as well has been the biggest opportunity that I could ask for within this project of Words That Burn, to be able to develop as a writer, to be able to develop not just myself, but obviously what the kids develop me as well.
I would say Words That Burn, in 3 words, empathy for all.
Words That Burn has become fun with poetry.
It is magic. There we go, 3 words.
Your fight was well fought and you found a way to cope. So take a bow, you've earned it, you're free now.
So hopefully that just gives you a bit of insight about Words That Burn, and also you can see as well just how amazing the young people are and how they engage with the resources and with the lessons and the session plans. And yeah, I always love just showing actually the students' voices, the young people's voices, because that's what this program is all about. But at its heart, what Words That Burn is it's 10 lesson plans that are available completely free for teachers to use. They're ready to use. They contain poems, they contain short performances on film, they contain PowerPoint presentations, activities you can use with your classes, and they cover various human rights themes. So you can see they come from being heard, being me, going all the way up to kind of speaking up, power, respect, and then finally that Words That Burn, really making sure that you make that space for young people to be able to stand up and really make their words burn when they perform their poems. And all of these sessions are available online. After this session, you'll be emailed with a link so that you can access them all, use them however you want to use them. You can take different sections from them. You can take activities if you want to just use little bits of them, or you can use them in their entirety. Each session is around an hour long, so they're really easy to use in your classroom. And as I say, they're ready-made, ready to go. We develop them with English teachers and with poets together, and so hopefully you find them to be really useful and really good to use. At the core of what our resources are, they've been built around what Amnesty considers human rights education to be about. And that means that they are all kind of built on these 3 principles which underpin everything that we do in the human rights education team at Amnesty. So for something to truly be considered human rights education, it's not just about learning about what human rights are, so finding out about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights or specific areas of human rights. It is about kind of having that knowledge, gaining that knowledge and understanding. And so each of our sessions has that element to it so that students can engage with different themes on human rights, things like equality and discrimination, looking at freedom of expression. But then it builds on that. So we consider the second step in human rights education to be learning through human rights. So ensuring that those sessions are built around modelling those values and behaviours that we want young people to be doing. And so in the sessions, they are built around kind of building those values, building a safe and inclusive environment, having activities that mean that young people are kind of building their confidence to engage in poetry and human rights, engage in creative writing in a way that is safe and that they feel able to do so in the classroom. And finally, what's really important for human rights education is learning for human rights. So developing those skills and empowerment within the classroom. And so what you'll find within all of these sessions is the space to really enable your young people to explore and enjoy their right to freedom of expression, not just through their way that they engage with the poets and the poetry that's within the sessions, but also because within every single session is that opportunity for them to do a creative response, for them to have that opportunity to write for themselves that self-expression piece, that poetry about the issues that matter to them, and also at the end to have that opportunity to be able to perform their poetry, which is such an important part of what we do in the Words That Burn programme. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to actually invite Fran and Deanna to kind of share their insights of working on the programme. I'll start with Fran, and then we'll hand over to Deanna, and then finally we'll just kind of finish the session with a bit of an activity if we have time. So Fran, if you'd like to. Thank you.
So I've had the opportunity to be part of Words That Burn, I think for three sort of times, 3 circuits now. And what I've learned has really shifted my perspective on our roles as educators in a way that has actually really been very profound. Human rights always seemed too tricky to attempt in the classroom, too full of pitfalls, and being part of Words That Burn has utterly solved that. Through the project, I and the young people taking part have been given the opportunity to work with award-winning poets, which has transformed my Year 8 students who used to loathe English and would perhaps put far too much energy into ingenious yarn spinning excuses to escape lessons, into young people whose voices are validated. They realise that they have something to say, and their words, their vernacular, is precisely what we need to hear, I think, in education. Amnesty have provided a wealth of resources open to teachers. So you've got all of the online stuff that Sita's already spoken about, but I'm going to be very low tech now and just hold up a giant poster, which is something that we have used hugely, because just having that sort of visual reference to a whole load of human rights it's been really nice to explore, but actually it's really great for them to interpret as well, and it's led to a huge amount of discussions in my classrooms. Yeah, so we've had workshops, and actually it's really set us up as teachers to go off and be spoken word practitioners, I feel. In a profession where modelling is key, we've been able to talk with authenticity about the process of translating our lived experience in the frame of human rights into poetic manifestos for a better tomorrow. I believe so strongly that we need to embrace the same challenges that we set before our students. Otherwise, it's just not fair to ask them to do it. Having the chance to collaborate with other teachers within the teachers programme and share simple facts about where I come from, or lists of favourite childhood foods, films and fragrances, and then being taught how to weave these sort of wisps of memories into poems. I never dreamt I'd be capable of writing a piece of poetry from just those sort of bits and bobs that we'd discussed. But an hour later, and you've got a poem in front of you. So having navigated that journey, we knew exactly how to pass the creative reins on to our pupils. So being part of Words That Burn has made me a much better practitioner, because I've learned through empirical means. I believe it's the best way we can reach those so often who wear the sort of slapdash label of hard to reach. The pupils in our schools have so much more lived experience than I think we give them credit for. They have a sense that the world that they're growing up in requires them to have confidence to use their voice. But I'm ashamed to say that all too often, school isn't really where that confidence is cultivated in all classrooms. So as educators, we need to help unlock the huge and momentous stories of our young people from all backgrounds, all faiths and all cultures, to empower them to find and use their voices and help them take a foothold in shaping their future. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Fran, for sharing that. And yeah, Brilliant, thank you very much. And also, I will say as well, those posters, you can order them online for free. So also do check out our website, because we do have lots of resources like that, which are free to teachers. And often I think teachers aren't aware that these things exist, but they do. They're free, they'll be delivered to your school. So do take a look at that. But thank you so much, Fran. I'll hand over to Deanna now.
Thank you, Fran. That was amazing. Like, I was getting like goosebumps, and I love hearing about this project, even though like I know it quite well. It always makes me come alive as someone who writes poetry for a living, and I think that that's like one of the best things about this program, is that it's alive and it's growing, and it models what it wants the world to be, you know, in terms of sharing ideas and skills and creating these spaces for us all to so I've been working with the Words That Burn program for, it feels like a very long time. I can remember many years ago, maybe even 10 years ago or something, when poets were approached to write pieces inspired by those three words that burn, and feeling so honoured and grateful to be a part of a program that speaks to the world about human rights, which is something that has always run through my work. So I'm going to share a poem, because that's what I do. I do best, as well as facilitate, which is my other superpower. And just to bring poetry into this space. But I guess poetry changed my life. Like, I wouldn't be the person that I am. My story and how I saw this world, and giving me the space not only to share it, but also the encouragement to make it more accurate to what I wanted to say and put into the world. And I think that this fusion between poets and English teachers and sharing these skills of kind of facilitation with teachers is so great, because it's all about how we communicate, right? And the craft of that. And that is quantifiable in the exams, which is important, but also the qualitative kind of power that it gives us when we feel that someone else has truly heard what we wanted to say and how we wanted to share it is trying to grow wild. And it was actually written for Kew Gardens many years ago, but I return to it whenever I feel like I'm becoming too tame. Grow wild and fill the cracks with medicinal roots. Sprout green and yellow and purple and white and bright, feral and luminous. Glow in the dark times of life on this planet. The soil is nuclear. Cement is air caged. Grow up, grow brave, grow billowing proud, grow whisper bonkers, crooked and matted and perfect, and leave the earth with your fuzzy spawn untamed. Spring into wind tingling chlorophyll. Rocket launch the rain bath sodden soil. Breathe through your pores. Grow how you feel, sunshine. Grow life. Grow wild. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Deanna. Thank you so much for sharing that poem with us and performing for us today, and also for all your insights as well, which are always invaluable. So thank you both. What I thought we could try and do now is an activity, so we can practice one of the activities that are included in the lesson plans, and then we'll open up for questions. So I'm going to try and share my screen again. So this is one of our activities in I think it's number 7 in our resources, and so it's this film you can use with your students. It's Dear Hearing World. It's a poem by Raymond Antrobus, and this is a film version of it. It's actually one of my favourite activities in the Words That Burn resources, because every single time I watch this film, I'm moved by it. And so I wanted to share this with you today, and then we'll just have 5 minutes having a go writing some poetry, because I think that's always really important when we're doing these sessions. And then, as I say, we'll open up to questions. So hopefully this film will work as well.
Dear Hearing World. I have left Earth in search of sounder orbits. A solar system where the space between a star and a planet isn't empty. I've left Earth in search of an audible God. I do not trust the sound of yours. You would not recognize my grandmother's hallelujah if she had to sign it. You would have made her sit on her hands, put a ruler in her mouth as if measuring her distance from holy. Take your God back. Though his songs are beautiful, they are not loud enough. I want the fate of Lazarus. For every deaf school you've closed, every deaf child whose confidence has gone to a silent grave, every BSL user who has seen the annihilation of their language, I want these ghosts to hoard your tongue-tied hands. I have left Earth. I am equal parts sick of your I'm hard of hearing too. Just because you've been on an aeroplane or suffered head colds, your voice has always been the loudest sound in a room. I call you out for refusing to acknowledge sign language in classrooms, for assessing deaf students and what they can't say instead of what they can. They did not ask to be part of the hearing world. I can't hear my joints crack, but I can feel them. I am sick of sounding out your rules. You tell me I breathe too loud, and it is rude to make noise when I eat. Sent me to speech therapists, said I was speaking a language of holes. I was pronouncing what I heard, but your judgment made all my syllables disappear. Your magic master trick, hearing world. Drowning out the quiet, bursting all speech bubbles in my graphic childhood. You are glad to benefit from audio supremacy. I tried hearing people, I tried to love you, but you laughed at my deaf grammar. I used commas, not full stops, because everything I said kept running away. I mulled over long paragraphs because I didn't know what a natural break sounded like. You erased what could have always been poetry. Strike that out, you erased what could have always been poetry. You taught me I was inferior to standard English expression. I was a broken speaker. You were never a broken interpreter. Taught me my speech was dry for someone who should sound like they're underwater. And it took years to talk with a straight spine. I mute red marks from the coursework you assigned. Voices go missing like sound in space, and I have left Earth to find them.
So that's just a film that forms part of one of our resources. The resource goes into a lot more detail, but I thought we could just do a bit of an activity that is based on the activity within the resource. And so I'm going to actually hand over to you. This is something that you can do by yourself. We're not going to share it. Just grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, and I want you to think about a person or a group of people that you feel have more power or privilege than you. And I'm just going to ask you for 3 minutes just to free write as if, you know, a letter, kind of, dear this person or whoever you're thinking of, free write for 3 minutes. Don't worry about spelling, don't worry about grammar, don't worry about anything. Just put down your thoughts on the page. And then what you're going to do is you're going to highlight words and phrases, and that can then become a poem for you. But I just want you to give it a go, and I will mute myself and let you have a go at doing that. And so once you've done that, just highlight words and phrases that stand out to you. And we don't have time in this session, but what you can then do is take that out of your free writing and turn that into prompts to start your poem. So I'll give you just a minute to highlight the words and phrases that stand out to you. So hopefully you've had a chance to do that. As I say, just a few minutes to kind of start thinking, start putting together your poems. This is where you can find our Words That Burn resources. You can scan our the QR code that's here, but there's also this link and you can access them online. You can find a whole wealth of resources on our website. We have the whole of the 10 session plans. You can find that activity that we've just done. You can find videos of various different poets performing their poetry. You can find that introductory video that we saw at the beginning with Deanna introducing Words That Burn, which is a brilliant way to kind of get young people excited at starting the Words That Burn unit and the lessons. And as Fran said as well, we have loads of education resources at Amnesty. You can order posters, you can order stickers, you can order badges, you can order just so many things. So do go on our website, find out about what we have, because we have all this stuff. It's free for teachers to use, so please do use it. Thank you everybody for coming along today. Thank you so much, Fran and Deanna, for sharing your insights with us. I'm going to open up now for any questions that anyone has. But yeah, thank you for sharing your evening with us, and I hope you found it useful and enjoyable and interesting. So I'll stop sharing my screen now. And if anyone does have any questions, just feel free to post in the chat.
In case you can't see Sita, in the chat, Layla has said thank you to Fran for the inspiring pep talk. That was what was needed. And Phil has commented powerful stuff. I think that came through when we were watching the video of the poem that Raymond Antrobus was performing. Layla says, love that for the free writing that we just did. And Priya says, thank you for this session, really thought-provoking.
Fantastic. Well, thank you everybody. And if anyone does have any questions, I think we'll be sharing the slides and also my contact details as well. If you want to find out anything more about Words That Burn, it's my favourite topic of conversation, so just let me know. But yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. I get to say the final round of thank yous. So thank you to Sita and Fran and Deanna. It's just been inspiring and challenging and wonderful. So thank you. Really nourishing as well. Like, it just feels good for the soul. So thank you. And thank you to all of you who have also come along and been part of this with us. As Sita says, we'll share the slides and recording of this session with you probably on Thursday. So thank you very much, everyone. And now go off and have a lovely evening. Thank you.